Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Endpoint TV. This is Crossy here with you, and we are watching Endpoint. Surprise, surprise, against a French side that I'm going to have to call MILF. There's no other way that I can get around it. And we see MILF on the opening pistol round, just going to be working up towards the Ivy area. Got Kappa, ZM Kappa coming out from Pop Dog as well. He's able to pick up a frag nice and early in the mid area. Weber gets 2, along with a nice assist on his teammate. TV3 in favour of MILF as they make their way onto the site. Weber with his 3rd. Grabs ZM Kappa from over towards Pop Dog area. Pure in a connector. Going to be trying to do some work from there. Pol's going to be coming in from that angle. Weber working from Ivy, where he's already picked himself up a couple of frags. Pols gets 1 in the connector. Pols gets the 2nd as well, allowing Weber to wander in, casually get the defuse, and really nice work from both of those guys. Apologies for the slight technical issue to begin with. XSplit crashed at the exact moment when the knife round went live, so I think all should be fixed now, and hopefully you'll be able to join back up to the stream. Also, one other little housekeeping thing. I may have to disappear off at 8:45 UK time. We've had a little scheduling issue with me having other commitments, basically involving me running around like a headless chicken on a football pitch for half an hour, and Scriv couldn't cover either. So if it gets to about 8:45 UK time, I will leave the stream on auto director so you can witness the end of the game if it comes to that. But, apologies, but at least we're bringing you some kind of action. It's been rather hectic trying to get everything together. Had to grab one of my regen shakers to get some water ready for this. There's a good giveaway for some regen products on the Endpoint Twitter. Well worth checking out and highly recommended. First came about regen casting for Blackout Gaming. Now getting on board with Endpoint as well, so good to see those guys getting a bit more of a profile. So Endpoint probably going to cruise through and pick up 2, maybe 3 rounds here after getting the opening pistol. Bandy trying to work on Luzza though as he steps in. Maybe a little risky. Maybe dropping weapons that they could have done without dropping. 200% kill bonus available for those weapons for any frags that they do happen to get with it. Plus 1 bomb plant that they've already put on the board as well, so that's going to be some extra money in their hands. Can probably consider a 3rd round AK Force if they want it, especially since it looks like they're going to get a plant over towards the B site as well. Lucky Novich goes for that. Mighty Max with the frag on 1. Lucky Novich does pick up one of those 200% kill bonus frags with the MP9 in hand. Well, Weber comes in and cleans up with the final frag. Diffuse going to come in as well. Extra points for Weber. Mr. Days of Sauce when getting the diffuse would get you 3 extra frags to your tally. It's a surefire way to pad my stats a little bit. Endpoint are going to be squaring off against the 5 AK buys. So one-shot headshot is available. And Train, it's one of those maps where you can so easily get caught with one of those from a terrorist peeking out. Very difficult map to hold. As Aaron, so he's pushed it through, gets 1, gets 2 before he's traded out by the AK, but that's worked pretty well. Information coming in, so it's going to be utilities flying in that direction. Luzza gets aggressive and gets 1. Max at Electric Box is going to, with the help of a flash, pick up the final frag of the round. 3-zip it is to Endpoint and force MILF back onto a pistol eco. Upgraded pistol's going to buy down to about 2k. With the 3 rounds lost, it's going to give them a bit of extra cash to buy again next time out. So Train has, from the Days of Source, been one of my, well, it has been my favourite map. I'm not going to say by far, but it's right up there. And the fact that Train gets played so little even to quite a decent standard, just makes me love it even more. It's not one that you get particularly tired of, and you know, it's a map that seems to strike fear into teams, especially on the CT side. You hear the horror stories of if you don't get your setup right on the A side, you can be in some serious trouble, and it's true. It is a big problem, and we'll probably see some of that panning out as we continue on in this game. Luz up at electric box if they want to try and continue to pile on that pressure in Pop Dog. Aaron did get traded out. They seem to keep dropping 2 players down into Pop Dog and get the trade from it, which is not a bad way to use that area, I suppose. If you're going to be trading, you'd rather... it usually plays into the hands of the terrorists. So not the end of the world as far as MILF goes. And that's ZM Kappa out with 2 digs out into mid. The first one shouldn't have happened. Stepped out into the open, was able to get Luzza from there. But the second, oh, what a shot that was. I think maybe a bit of a tank from the Ivy player, but talk about a tank. Mighty Max just sticks with the fuse. Pros never fake. And that's going to be 4 on the board for Team Endpoint. Really nicely done again from those guys. Yeah, so a couple of interesting moves that I'm seeing from MILF, including the double drop. Pulse smashes Weber in the face down to 55 points of health, and I think he's leading the charge. Yeah, he is. 6 frags. Top of the scoreboard in these very early stages. Let's take a moment to get up in the sky and have a look at what this setup is. So we've got Aaron, he's playing close Pop Dog. Mighty Max looking towards main, and Luzza, so he's gone down. That's pretty much below me, wasn't it, I think? As the action now making its way into the site. Aaron and Mighty Max set up the crossfire. Aaron does go down in the end, but Max is there straight away to trade. ZM Kappa with a couple of crisp 1 digs. Might be able to get the headshot of Pulse. Yes, he does, but his position will now be known. Bomb down as well, so Endpoint are just going to basically make sure that he can't pick up an easy frag to get out of here. You see Max could be in a bit of trouble. Could still be in a bit of trouble. Walks behind the wall with perfect timing, but he is caught now. 1v1 Sitch. Weber's got eyes on the bomb. Molotov in hand, smoke, couple of flashes. Don't know if maybe he heard the bomb get picked up, but I certainly didn't. ZM Kappa with 30 seconds left to go. Can hightail it to B now. Just wants to make sure he doesn't give the game away too soon by making noise. So as the plant goes down, Weber will be foot slapping it in that direction. Again, being cautious, doesn't want to give away where he's coming from. Walking up behind at ladder, ZM Kappa is probably going to be looking in the direction of main first, and he is actually, but Weber is on point, able to find him. Both those players walked the whole way. Not a single bit of game sound from either one of them. But Weber, despite having the perhaps slight disadvantage, half a second, was able to pick that up. And it is a 5-0. Let's just go and fly into main again, which is such a key area of this map. So this is the area that you've got to be concerned about. Players getting out of here and getting control. If they do, with smokes, etc., if they get out into this area, you have problems. Your CTs end up getting pinned all the way back, and it can be quite easy to pick them off. You see Endpoint being aggressive on it. They've got 2 players getting up close and personal. Aaron up in the close pop. He's got Max pretty close behind him for company. Pulse takes one to the dome, down to 35 points health. 2 players down into Pop Dog. So Aaron dropped out. I didn't see it happen actually, but probably what happened to Aaron, and this is a good way that you can play, is if you're sitting around this kind of area, if a flash drops, then you can just get out of dodge. Drop back to behind the box or something. See smokes come out of there. But you can drop back into the site. You should have teammates covering you towards the main, so you're not going to get picked up by a player that's pushed out of there too often. and then you can live to fight another day. Confined area like Pop Dog, so, and it's fairly straightforward to keep someone in there. Molotovs, flashes, nades, etc. They can be damaging. And if you get a bit of B pressure up at the top of the ladder, catch anyone that tries to go back up, or again throwing some of that utility down into that confined area, you can sometimes flush players out into the awaiting players in main as well. My personal preference, CT side on train, is to have 4 players in main. Leave 1 player out towards B. And that is what Endpoint are doing, leaving Pulse as the dedicated Ivy player. Luzzer gets 1 in the meantime before Aaron is caught. Utility aplenty, smokes aplenty. And this is going to be challenging now. Max catches fire on the site. And Luzzer and Pulse able to clean up. So, again, really nice work. If you have Pulse playing, or any player, as a dedicated Ivy player, that's a good benefit to have. As what some teams will do is they'll have an AWPer that will play around about Ivy looking towards main. And they will also deal with Ivy behind. So if someone walks Ivy, they're completely unabated through at that point. And then of course if you wait long enough, and that main player with the AWP is thinking, oh, I'd better watch Ivy now, they could be coming that way slowly, then it opens up the main for a split play or a delayed play later on. So I like having that rifle player in there. If you want to have an AWP over in that direction as well, then fine. But the AWPer can concentrate just on main. The rifle player can concentrate just on Ivy. And if anything happens from either one of those, they can make the calls, support each other as needs be. Call on a bit of backup from the rest of the team, that kind of thing. See Aaron now playing a little more defensive as far as Pop Dog goes, not getting in there. Learning from not really a mistake, he's been getting the trades, but they have only been trades. And you see again, he gets another trade 1 for 1. And that isn't good for Endpoint's health. Needs to be doing more than that. Needs to pick up a couple, or he needs to be protecting himself and just sitting back a little further than he is. Lucky Novich then walks in the fire over towards the B site. Bombs moving in that direction, but they will not have much time to make an execution. Weber actually maybe being a little too aggressive, but it doesn't matter because Max and Weber cover both of the angles, get 2 players as they make their way down into site. Bomb actually going to be making its way onto the A site, is it? Yes, it is. Everyone has gone on the rotate, so they will get this plant in. ZM Kappa grabs Luzzer as he tries to make his way in through connector. I'm guessing that's AWP that's been dropped there. And to Max and Weber on the retake. Will this be Mills' first round on the board? We shall see. And cleared some of the angles then. They've got full connector control. ZM Kappa might have a play in from behind. Max again, pros, never fake, just sticks to the defuse. Doesn't pan out for him quite as well this time. And MILF take their opening round, 7-1 it is. Good chance for Endpoint to reset. They've got enough cash to make it work, I think. They spread it around a little, and they do. So all absolutely fine. I've thought about trying to pronounce Mills' full name, but it will no doubt sound a little bit like when I did some highlight videos for German EPS and just used a deliberately broken German. Mein Name ist Crossi. Guten Abend. Der Gewinner this week is, that kind of thing. I think it was fairly well received. I think my French is going to be equally rusty, so I'm just not going to embarrass myself or offend any potential French viewers tonight. Just going to stick with MILF. In the meantime, I think it's going to be a very early reset coming in from Endpoint. 4-2 advantage. Last two players walking towards Ivy. Probably from here, if they take Pulse down. He's not looking in their direction, actually. This could be interesting. You see, this is the problem that you sometimes get. And he turns around and finds two terrorists crouching and looking in his direction. It was a bit high, mate. And that's the issue that you have. Because he had no information that they were coming in that direction whatsoever. It was only when he thought, maybe I should check Ivy. Spins around and sees two terrorists in front of him. I think in that situation, it actually gives you a split second to get the call off to your teammates, but more often than not, they get shot in the back, the T's come pouring out, and then they have to figure out what just happened. Was that from behind? Oh yeah, I think they're Ivy. Just delays it that extra couple of seconds and allows the terrorists to pour out, get towards back of sight, get out to what used to be hell, or known as hell. Used to be some rafters that you could climb up onto. Back in the days of Source, and that was probably the single most exposed area on any Counter-Strike map I could think of when you get to that position. Very difficult to actually duck behind anything. And the window that's now on the opposite side is a little more guarded. Zarin gets a 2K out from Pop Dog. MILF trying to make their way into the site, and they've got a decent amount of control, but one at a time. Probably not going to have too many issues. Mighty Max, Pulse and Luzza cleaned up with 3 frags in very quick succession, and it is going to be 9-1 and counting. Now look at the scoreboard then. MILF are broke once again. Got that solitary round, had their money reset straight off the bat after that. Latouche a little quiet, 1 and 10 for him. Everyone on the Endpoint side putting in decent work. Aaron 11-7. And he's been the player that I've picked up on as being traded out a little too easily. So good to see his KDR starting to open up just a little bit. Changing the way he plays. He's maybe learnt from his mistakes a little bit. He steps down the ramp, picks up 1, picks up 2. No bomb plant as well, so no free money. MILF going for a full AK buy again if they want it. And they will definitely take it. Full utility all around. Pretty much head armor all around. A couple of players going without it. Mighty Max keeping hold of his FAMAS. Any bankroll that they end up building here just gives them the extra little buffer to close out with a strong score. Aggressive push coming in through the main, and Aaron, that didn't pan out for him. I was thinking he was, he used the line learning from his mistakes. Maybe just chilling out on the aggression a little bit. Pushing through main like that is one flash and push. When you know you're going to be coming up against AKs or an eco round. That is not a high percentage play, shall we say? With Weber going down straight afterwards, not ideal. Pulse, though, he's doing some good work out in the main. With the cover dropped off a little bit, a few teammates falling. It means he has to flick a little left, right, look towards main, look towards Pop, cover himself. But he's doing well, and I'm sure he will be looking to change his position. Tries to get cover from Electric Box, and I'm amazed that only in 80 he got hammered, but Pulse gets his 3rd from out in the main. Mighty Max does some work as well with the FAMAS in hand, which it looks like he's upgraded and has. Free upgrade. Gets himself an AK. Couple of players with 8K, 9K. So stack loads of resource to drop for teammates, even if they end up losing a couple on the spin. Just getting to the dying stages of this second half. Again, they get aggressive, Weber. And it's a spray down. ZM Kappa ends up with a team attack, a team kill in that process as well. 12-1 then. Endpoint are on a tear, and you can see the confidence that they have. Some of the pushes they're making. One flash push into connector from Aaron the round before. Two teammates going down 5v3 against, and they're able to pick that one up. That time, two players pushing aggressive through into B, facing off against the full MILF lineup in there, and they cut them down to shreds. It was an eco bash, but you know, even on eco, you have to be very daring to go and push in the way that you do. Often teams on T side will want to get a nice hold up there, make sure that the Pop Dog player can't jump up. Make sure there are no pushes coming from the ramps, which often happens on ecos. If you're expecting a CT side to be on eco, you will often get some kind of push from ramp and upper. Not so much in the buy round though. Latouche gets Mighty Max as he pushes through, and Lucky Novich gets a frag on Pulse as well. Luzza then, with the AWP in hand, gets one, and didn't really get that peak right. And Lucky Novich just stuck his elbow out, and Luzza was able to find it. So they bring it back straight away to a 3v3. Where are these positions? So Weber under Nest, he can bounce up into Nest if he needs a little bit of extra protection, but chances are he will be the last to get spotted. Aaron going to be edging his way slowly from behind, waiting for noises of utility, etc. from these MILF players, just to give him the indication that he can push behind unabated. Weber does actually get caught, and Bandy finds Luzza from up on the bomb site, leaving Aaron last man. Biding his time before he came for the rotate in behind. It's like one of the full HP players, as Pure, is going to walk straight into him, and does. Nade out towards Ivy, flash out towards Ivy, spins and grabs the second player up on train. So they're giving him plenty of info, this last man, Bandy. He's down to 20 points of health. Will the pistol be enough? Not quite. 12-1 then. 12-2, sorry. Took a little while for the scoreboard to update. Mighty Max 18-5, having a field day. Out towards the all-important A main area, where you get a lot of action. In theory, you get a lot of action, unless the Ts get real benefits out of barreling into B. But even from there, the A players can fill their boots on the rotate. Endpoint maybe being a little over-aggressive, but given the situation they find themselves in, why not? They're pretty much a T-side pissed around win away from being very firmly in the driving seat. Lucky Novich down to 4 HP. So Max grabs Pure, stepping out from the main. Very difficult area to push A main. As you can guarantee, if you haven't got an AWP scope aimed on you, you're going to have at least one, if not two, sets of rifle iron sights in a full buy. Plenty of utility to slow you down. A few well-timed flashes from who knows where, from the cover of the trains, can leave you completely white as you try and make your push out into the main. It's very easy for the CTs to clean you up. Pulse with a tag from Luzza, gets one, spins and gets the second. The Touche is instantly traded out by Aaron, who'd taken Pop Dog control. Leaving just ZM Kappa, 25 seconds left to go. 4 players to find, a bomb to plant. A little bit of a tough ask. Might be able to get a cheap frag on Aaron, who's looking completely the wrong direction, and that will get called. Mighty Max looking to pad his stats even more, and does. Puts the first half 20 bomb on the board. And a very convincing win for Team Endpoint on the CT side. It was like the days of Fnatic back in Source. And they just had Train locked down. Beautiful to watch. Have to say I feel sorry for MILF. Endpoint teeming with confidence. even when a couple of players went down on the CT side, they were still able to cover multiple angles and come away with a solid round. Normally what would happen in that situation is you would pick up a couple of frags. That's going to open up some angles. And you would either, if you open it up on the main, draw a player out of B into the rotate, which means that you're soft into B. That's to get the plant in, and you've got the numbers advantage for trying to hold that out. Or if you've got the A main advantage and you push out and you get aggressive and you go fast into electric, get a couple of frags, get the plant, then you know that you're going to be dealing with at least one, maybe two players rotating in from connector B. And you can cover the angles and the like. But, you know, at this point, MILF were able to get the opening frags, but they were never really able to get site control at all. I mean, normally in B, you'd be able to get in there, get the plant down, spread out a bit, and then the CTs would come in and be able to retake you. But I didn't even feel like they got to that point remotely often enough. So you see Endpoint stacking up over towards the B site. Luzza opens up with a frag on Lucky Novic. Dylan Kappa had a couple of crisp 1Ds. Gets a few USP 1 taps, as does Bandy. Finds headshots, I don't know how. Kappa cleans up the last couple. And MILF live to fight another day. First one on the board. Endpoint going for upgraded pistols. Up against the M4 and the umps. Plus an MP9. So it happens here early doors. Nade from Lucky Novic, bounces up the ramp and does a little bit of damage. Fair amount of splash damage, actually. Scout in the hand to Luzza. Dents Latouche at the back of Ivy. He's now going to drop to the back of the site. Bandy close, looking for anyone that tries to drop down. Aaron actually spamming through the spot. Takes Bandy down to 53 points of health. Probably didn't hear the dink of a helmet, so won't have known that he was doing damage at that point. Minute left to go on the clock. So get ready for an Endpoint execution. Out and getting main control. Mighty Max with the opening frag on Pure. Aaron flicks out and trades for the guy in Pop Dog. Lucky Novic going to be coming in from behind, trying to help out his teammate Latouche. He's going to do what he can from connector. This could be huge. Gets one, gets two. Okay, that has worked pretty well. Mighty Max gets himself an MP9. He's going to try and cover the plant. Only 5 seconds left to go. Lucky Novic does get Mighty Max. Even Pulse. 100 HP against 95, and Pulse does clean up. So that push from Endpoint, complete transformation from what MILF were able to do on their T side. They took out into main. They were able to get a bit of control. They were able to get themselves to the point of electric box, and from that they just sat for the time being. One player came in and got two out of Pop Dog in the end, but you know, from that point they had a 4v1 player at connector trying to hold things out. So they had some semblance of A control, and then they were able to build from that. MILF just weren't in that position whatsoever, really, and this shows the complete contrast between these two sides on train. I think it's a sign that we are looking at the beginning of the end, and this won't take too long to finish up. As I mentioned at the start, a little apology. I need to bolt out the door in literally a couple of minutes to go and run around the football pitch like a headless chicken for 45 minutes. Believe it or not, I'm worse at football than I am at Counter-Strike, so that's telling you something, but needs be. We wanted to get some cover of this game, and we got to see a dominant CT half from Endpoint to kick things off, and it is now in their hands to bring it home as they're stacking up towards the B site. smoke down. Allows them to get in nice and quickly. Mighty Max with a couple of entry frags with assists from Aaron and Luzza. And again, we see site control. Gets themselves down there, makes the opening frags. They have a numbers advantage. They have the bomb planted. And now it sets the CTs on the clock. Pure gets one with the dig, but his position will be known and will be getting called off. No utility really to stop Weber from stepping out from upper as he does here. Back a bomb train. Will be calling that to his teammates, but he goes alone. Pulls out the Glock, gets the headshot. 15-3 it is, and I will try and stick with this, up until the conclusion. So we are 1 round away from victory for the team Endpoint guys. 15-3 up against a couple of CZs, which can definitely change the course of action, as we saw in Poland at IEM a couple of weeks ago, or last weekend I think it was. Bandy with a perfectly timed Kobe onto Mighty Max. Who, if decides Counter-Strike isn't for him, could probably get a spot in a cricket team with that kind of catching. Specialist fielder. The Touche walking through as Weber gets Lucky Novich. Brings it back to a 4v4. Endpoint have a huge weapon advantage. The Touche might be able to get one. Yes, does get one, but Pulse is there to refrag instantly. That's the difference between a good level of Counter-Strike and an okay level of Counter-Strike. The amount of times when I'm in a spray down situation, tag someone down to 30, 40, 50 points of health. I've got a teammate standing right next to me and they don't make that trade kill. Man, that's frustrating. And watching Endpoint never find themselves in a situation where these refrags aren't made, or barely anyway. There's always a teammate on hand to trade out. One flash and oh, down goes ZM Kappa. Very unfortunate. B control is gained once again. 3v2. One player coming in from behind. Bandy's his position is known. That smoke is going to mean that he has to push through it. Pure down to low. Pulse gets Bandy as he comes in from behind. The remaining 2 players able to find Pure as well. GGs are exchanged, and that was a pretty much flawless performance on train.